Lost high scores. 30 years had passed since I'd last set foot in Benny's arcade. Not much had changed. The sticky carpet was still decorated with faded stars and galaxies, worn down by the footsteps of countless teenagers. Neon lights beckoned kids toward retro games like Pac-Man and Space Invaders, turning them into little coin-hungry machines. "Can I have a taste of your slushie, Auntie Danny?" Nina asked, her eyes locked on my bright blue raspberry-flavored drink. She had no idea I'd mixed it with vodka. A secret stash to help dull the nerves of being back here. "No, but I'll get you one of your own when your parents get back." "They sure are taking their time," I said, glancing toward the entrance, but there was still no sign of them. "Dance with me then," she demanded, pulling me over to the garish, brightly lit dance machine blasting 80s synth music. "You go ahead. I'll just watch." The last thing I needed was to jump around with a pounding hangover. Blue vodka slush all over the floor wouldn't exactly scream responsible guardian. I fed a few coins into the machine, wincing as I noticed the price. £2 a game? This used to be 20 pence when I was your age, I grumbled. One round would be enough for her. Nina rolled her eyes and started stepping onto the flashing arrows. Instead of looking like a graceful dancer, she moved more like a crab trying to scuttle out of the sun. I bit back a laugh, keeping my eyes on her. The last time I danced here was with Emily. Her blonde ponytail would swing with every frantic step, and she'd turn to me with that infectious smile of hers, red lips beaming. "I'm gonna get the high score, Danny." I loved the way she lit up over little things, so when she did get that high score, I cheered for her. I wanted her to know how much I appreciated her joy. Just as we were celebrating, Ben had come running over. "I've got the air hockey table. Hurry up, Emily." He didn't care about the high score or her excitement. He just wanted to keep moving. He never stopped to make her smile like I did. I sighed, taking another sip of my slushie. More vodka than ice at this point. When Nina wasn't looking, I refilled it from my flask. If she asked, I'd say it was melted ice. Nina's score didn't come close to the high ones that used to matter to me. I scanned the leaderboard, hoping to find a trace of Emily's name, but years of new players had pushed it down. It felt like a small victory that had been erased, her triumph forgotten. "I want to play Pac-Man," Nina announced, dragging me from my thoughts. "Sure, whatever keeps you busy for a bit," I replied, following her over to the glowing machine, happy for the distraction. Nina focused on the game, her little fingers mashing the buttons as she navigated through mazes and dodged ghosts. "Auntie Danny, you used to come here a lot, right?" she asked, glancing over as she paused between levels. "Yeah, after school. Practically every evening," I replied, trying to mask the dull ache those memories brought back. "So why aren't you happy to be here?" "I love visiting old places like my first playground or my old kindergarten." "That's because you have good memories of those places." I tried to keep my voice steady, but a knot formed in my chest. Nina looked at me, her curiosity only growing. "What kind of bad memories can you have in an arcade? Did you lose lots of money or something?" "Mom said you're not good with money." The comment stung. "It's not money I lost, kid. It's something else." She returned her focus to the game, leaving me to my thoughts. The arcade was bustling with families, kids playing on their school break. Normally, summer meant barbecues and lazy afternoons for me. Not babysitting my niece in a place filled with ghosts from my past. I scanned the arcade, letting the old memories swirl with the buzzing lights. Teen couples wandered around hand in hand, reminding me of Ben, always underdressed and a little too cocky. Guys like him never had to try as hard as I did, even if they weren't half as thoughtful or attentive. They always got the girl. I caught a glimpse of the basketball game across the arcade, its bright orange and red hoops calling to me. It was the one thing I told myself I wouldn't revisit today. But maybe facing it was exactly what I needed. Maybe the vodka was messing with my judgment, but I had to know if I could still play. Leaving Nina behind with her game, I walked over to the basketball machine. The arcade wasn't big. She could find me if she needed to. The hoops looked just like I remembered, waiting for someone to take a shot. The reigning champion of this game hadn't picked up a ball in decades. I fed a coin into the slot, feeling a rush of nostalgia as the machine whirred to life. Get ready, set, and shoot. I grabbed a ball, aimed, and let it fly. The vodka dulled my reflexes, but muscle memory took over. Shot after shot, the ball swished through the net, the familiar rhythm bringing a smile to my face. High score, congratulations. A tear slipped down my cheek as my score blinked on the screen. I hadn't lost everything after all. But then the memory that had kept me away from this game crashed into me. I'll never beat your score, Emily had pouted, giving me that look that always made my heart race. Hey, they don't call me the queen for nothing, I joked. But her pout had softened me, so I'd suggested we play together, that I could help her. She'd asked me to guide her shots, her back against my chest, her arms under mine. I tried to focus on the game, but her perfume filled the air between us, and I couldn't ignore how close she was. We managed to get our names on the scoreboard, Danny and Em, side by side. She'd turned to me with that same hungry look in her eyes, her lips inches from mine. And then Ben's voice cut through the moment. Whoa, I leave you two for 5 minutes and you start making out? Emily had pulled away, red-faced, covering her awkward laugh with a hand. She dared me to kiss her if we got on the scoreboard, she'd said, turning back to him with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. I stayed behind, holding back the lump in my throat as they walked off together. She never mentioned that kiss again, and neither did I. A hand on my shoulder yanked me back to the present. I turned, and there she was, Emily, with her long blonde hair and cherry-tinted lips. Emily, She cut me off, her expression stern. Danny, you left Nina alone. She came running to us crying. And are you seriously drinking again? I thought you'd quit. I glanced down at my cup, still half filled with slushy and vodka. The excuse about melted ice wasn't going to work this time. Before I could answer, Jack joined us, putting a hand on Nina's shoulder. He looked at me with that same pitying expression he always had. Danny, we brought you here to try and help you reconnect with the family. But you're still determined to push us all away. No, it's not like that. It was just one drink and I only went to play basketball for a minute. I thought she was right behind me. He shook his head, guiding Nina away. We'll try this again some other time, but I don't think you're ready yet, sis. They left me there, standing alone by the basketball machine, feeling like a shadow of my former self. The same old story me left behind while he got to play the part of the good guy. Stupid Jack. We looked the same brown hair, same hazel eyes. But because I'm the screw-up sister, I'm the one who gets left standing here. And he's the one who gets the happy ending. I took the last sip of my vodka slushy and hurled the empty cup toward the hoop. It sailed through the air, and the machine dinged with another perfect shot. Just like old times, I thought bitterly, but this time there was no one left to cheer. As I watched Jack and Nina disappear into the bustling arcade crowd, I leaned back against the machine, letting its lights wash over me. Memories of this place hit me like a relentless wave, each one pulling me back into a past I had spent so long trying to forget. The arcade had been our escape back then, mine and Emily's. We had our routines, stopping by the claw machines where she would try, and usually fail, to win a plush toy, then making our way to the old pinball machines. She had a way of getting lost in the flashing lights and sound effects, her laughter blending with the cheerful chimes. I'd watch her sometimes, wanting to capture that joy, to keep it with me even when we left this place. Back then, it felt like we had all the time in the world. But of course time ran out. I shifted on my feet, the ache in my chest spreading as the memories continued to flow. We were 18 when she left for college. Her goodbye had been a quick hug and a rushed "see you around." It had stung. How casually she'd walked away after everything that had happened between us, the unspoken words, the lingering glances. I didn't have the nerve to follow her, or to admit that I had fallen for her long before that kiss. So I stayed in this town in the shadow of our memories, while she went on to bigger things. "Danny." The voice cut through my thoughts like a knife and I froze. Emily was still standing there, arms crossed, watching me with that same mixture of concern and frustration she always used to have. "Why do you care, Emily?" I muttered, turning away. "You've got your life, your family, everything. I'm just here to be the family screw-up, right?" She sighed, the sound heavy with an exasperation that felt far too familiar. "Because, Danny, you're my friend. You always have been, even if things got complicated. I'm not trying to judge you. I want to help." I let out a dry laugh. "Friend, huh? We haven't spoken in years, Emily. You made your choice a long time ago." Her face softened, a flicker of sadness crossing her features. She tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear, a nervous habit I remembered all too well. "You know it wasn't that simple. Ben and I cut her off, my voice sharper than I intended. "Ben was your safety net. He always was. But that kiss? That was real, Emily. You can't pretend it didn't mean anything." She flinched at my words but held my gaze. For a moment it felt like we were 18 again, standing in the neon glow of this arcade, suspended in that moment where everything could have been different. But then she blinked, and the years settled back into place between us. "I know it was real, Danny," she whispered, barely audible over the noise of the arcade. "But I was scared, okay? Scared of what people would think, scared of losing what was familiar. You don't think I regret it too?" I clenched my fists, the frustration and hurt bubbling up inside me. "You moved on. You built your life with him. And now you want to come back and play the Good Samaritan? Just leave me alone, Emily. I'm fine." She shook her head, taking a step closer, and I caught the familiar scent of her perfume. Vanilla with a hint of something floral. It made my chest tighten. "You're not fine, Danny. You're here, drinking yourself numb in a place that holds nothing but ghosts for you. When are you going to stop punishing yourself?" The words hit harder than I'd like to admit. I looked away, my vision blurring slightly as I tried to steady myself. She had a point. Maybe that's all I'd been doing. Coming back here year after year, nursing my wounds and pretending that the past didn't matter. But it did. It always did. "You have no idea what it's like," I said finally, my voice breaking. "Watching you with him. Knowing that I'll never be the one you choose. Seeing you build this whole life while I'm stuck in place." Emily's expression softened, and she reached out, hesitating before placing a hand on my arm. "I know I hurt you, Danny. And I know I can't change what happened, but I'm trying to be here now. You don't have to go through this alone." I wanted to shove her hand away, to tell her to leave and never come back. But my anger was unraveling, leaving behind a hollow ache that felt like it might swallow me whole. Instead, I just stood there, feeling the warmth of her touch seep through my jacket, grounding me. Before I could muster a reply, a small voice interrupted, tugging at my sleeve. "Auntie Danny, are you okay?" Nina's wide eyes stared up at me, and I realized I must have looked like a mess, face flushed, eyes red-rimmed from holding back tears. I knelt down, forcing a smile. Yeah, kiddo. I'm okay. Just catching up with an old friend. Emily knelt beside me, offering Nina a reassuring smile. Your aunt and I used to come here all the time, you know. She was the best at basketball. Still is, it looks like. Nina beamed up at me, as if I'd just accomplished something truly amazing. You got the high score, Auntie Danny? That's so cool. I couldn't help but laugh at her enthusiasm, the bitterness in my chest loosening just a little. Yeah, I guess I still got it. Nina grinned, then looked between us with a curious expression. Do you think we could all play together sometime? Like all three of us? I glanced at Emily, catching the hopeful look in her eyes. I knew it wouldn't be easy to let go of everything that had happened, to forgive her, to forgive myself. But as I looked at Nina's eager face, I realized that maybe, just maybe, there was room to try. Yeah, kiddo, I said, ruffling her hair. Maybe we could do that. Emily's smile widened, and for a moment, I let myself believe that maybe we could find a new way forward. Not by erasing the past, but by learning to live with it. Nina ran off toward the pinball machines, leaving me and Emily standing side by side. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of resentment and regret begin to shift. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And as we stood there, the arcade lights blinking around us, I realized that maybe, for the first time in a long time, I wasn't completely alone.